On our website, you can get PDF learning materials for free. Please visit englist.me.
Separate.
To force, take, or pull apart, mark as different.
Examples:
Separate video into chapter. Separate cream from milk. We need to separate the aspect of his personality from the part of his competence when making an investment decision.
Subsequent.
Happening or occurring later or after something else.
Examples:
Over subsequent months. Reduce subsequent mortality. In the subsequent meeting, the team discussed ways to improve productivity.
Medical.
Relating to the treatment of illness or injuries, relating to the practice of medicine.
Examples:
A medical opinion. Temporary medical treatment. The medical team worked quickly to save the patient's life.
Advancement.
The development, improvement, or progress of something.
Examples:
Advancement of knowledge. Career advancement. Competition between countries resulted in fast technological advancement.
Exponential.
Becoming more and more rapid, of or involving mathematical exponents.
Examples:
Exponential growth. Exponential function. Since the 1990s, the Internet has continued to experience exponential growth.
Progression.
The act or process of changing to the next stage or phase or moving forward.
Examples:
Progression of civilization. Progression of disease. The company has made great strides in its progression towards sustainability.
Combat.
A fight or battle, usually between opposing military forces, an engagement in which opposing parties attempt to defeat each other by force.
Examples:
Combat zone. Hand-to-hand combat. The veteran was honored for his service in combat.
Perception.
A belief, opinion, or image you have based on how you regard, understand, or interpret something, the ability to see, hear, or notice something through the senses.
Examples:
Keen perception. Perception of a stimulus. He is a man admired for the depth of his perception.
Virus.
A tiny infectious organic material that causes disease in people, animals, and plants.
Examples:
Spread of the virus. A strain of virus. An infected person in the hospital will likely pass the virus to others.
Evolve.
To develop gradually, or to cause the development of something or someone gradually.
Examples:
Evolve. Evolve over the past decade. Eyeless fish evolved in dark caves.
Elicit.
To obtain information or a reaction from someone, usually with difficulty.
Examples:
Elicit a confession. Elicit a solution. Have you elicited a response from them yet?
Reaction.
A response that reveals a person's feelings or attitude. In chemistry, a process in which one or more substances are changed into others.
Examples:
Chemical reaction. Trigger a reaction. There was a chemical reaction of the lime with the groundwater.
Stigmatize.
To accuse, condemn, or openly or formally consider somebody or something as not deserving respect.
Examples:
Stigmatize the deviant as criminal. Stigmatize him as a swindler. She was stigmatized by society because she had a child out of wedlock.
Subside.
To become less intense or widespread, to sink to a lower level.
Examples:
Subside an argument. Subside after a short time. The storm subsided, leaving the town in peace.
Congeal.
To solidify or thicken, especially by cooling or freezing. To become firm or solid, often referring to a liquid or substance.
Examples:
Congeal into a solid mass. Congeal liquid. The blood began to congeal as it dried in the wound.
Crisis.
A time of great disagreement, confusion, or danger when problems must be resolved or critical decisions must be taken.
Examples:
Financial crisis. Crisis management. The Chinese word for crisis comprises two characters, one for danger and the other for opportunity.
Obvious.
Easy to see, discover, or understand.
Examples:
Obvious reasons. His conclusion was obvious. There are obvious differences between the two wine-producing regions.
Gay.
Homosexual, happy, carefree.
Examples:
Gay couple. Gay rights. The Gay Pride Parade was a celebration of diversity and acceptance.
Straight.
Extending or moving in one direction without bending or curving, having no deviations.
Examples:
A straight line. Straight for 2 months. He was sick for 5 straight days.
Awful.
Causing fear, dread, or terror, very bad or unpleasant.
Examples:
An awful error. Do awful damage. I regretted making an awful mistake in my final exam.
Fringe.
A decorative border or edge on a piece of clothing, a group of people or things that are not considered to be part of the main group.
Examples:
Fringe benefit. On the fringe of the city. The dress had a fringe of beads along the hem.
Interchange.
An exchange of one thing for another, often involving a replacement or substitution, a meeting or intersection of two or more roads or routes.
Examples:
Interchange station. Interchange of ideas. The highway had a dangerous interchange where accidents were common.
Nation.
A large organized community of people living in a particular country or region and having a particular culture.
Examples:
Nation-state. A seafaring nation. The nation of Japan is known for its unique culture and advanced technology.
Convention.
A large formal assembly of people who do a particular job or have a similar interest or of a political party, something regarded as a normative example.
Examples:
Convention center. Political convention. They met at biennial conventions.
Mindset.
The established set of attitudes or fixed ideas held by someone.
Examples:
Flexible mindset. The mindset in an education system. Countries whose goal is economic development often focus on fostering an entrepreneurial mindset in each individual.
Transmit.
To send or forward an electronic signal, to pass something from one person or thing to another.
Examples:
Transmit the disease. Transmit information. Parents often transmit their characteristics to their children.
Territory.
An area under the control of a ruler or state.
Examples:
Acquire territory. Territory in charge. They incorporated the conquered territory into their nation.
Hemophilia.
A genetic disorder in which the ability of the blood to clot is severely reduced, resulting in excessive bleeding and bruising.
Examples:
Hemophilia treatment. Hemophilia diagnosis. He inherited hemophilia from his mother and suffers from frequent bleeding.
Contract.
A legally binding agreement between two or more parties, setting out their rights and obligations to each other, typically in writing and enforceable by law.
Examples:
Employment contract. Contract law. The company signed a contract with the supplier for the delivery of goods.
Contaminate.
To make something impure, unclean, or poisonous by contact or mixture.
Examples:
Contaminate with a disease. Contaminate his ego. We strive not to contaminate the environment when demolishing petroleum plants.
Profound.
Extremely great, sensed or experienced very strongly, displaying a high level of knowledge or comprehension.
Examples:
A profound book. The profound depths of the sea. My mother's illness had a profound impact on us all.
Shift.
A slight transition in position, direction, or trend.
Examples:
Doppler shift. Major paradigm shift. Could you help me shift some furniture?
Restricted.
Limited in extent, number, scope, or action, especially by official rules, laws, etc.
Examples:
Restricted area. Lactose restricted diet. The country has designated our products as restricted import goods.
Deem.
To consider or decide something in a particular way.
Examples:
Deem socially responsible. Deem wrong or inappropriate. Regarding earthquakes, some commercial buildings were deemed unsafe.
Empathy.
The ability to share another person's feelings or experiences by imagining that person's situation.
Examples:
Full of empathy. Empathy for patients. Empathy is also necessary to understand history.
Permanent.
Lasting for a long time without essential change.
Examples:
Literature of permanent value. Permanent life insurance. She is searching for a permanent residence.
Linger.
To stay in a place or exist longer than expected.
Examples:
Linger in the mind. Linger over your work. She lingered for a moment before leaving the room.
Fender.
A barrier that surrounds the wheels of a vehicle to block splashing water or mud. A cushion-like device that reduces shock due to an impact.
Examples:
Front fender. Vehicle fender. He had a fender bender last night.
Norm.
Something that is regarded as usual, typical, or standard.
Examples:
Norm of action. Cultural norm. The systems we have developed has accepted as industry norms.
Educated.
Having received a high standard of education.
Examples:
Educated adult. Educated speech. Excellent speech is a characteristic of an educated man.
Undetectable.
Not able to be noticed or seen, or too small or faint to be noticed.
Examples:
Undetectable levels. below undetectable limits. The study found that the changes in the brain were undetectable by current imaging techniques.
Virtually.
Almost completely.
Examples:
Virtually all countries. Virtually identical. Virtually all the parties signed the contract.
Infectious.
Able to be passed quickly from one person, animal, or plant to another, especially through air or water.
Examples:
An infectious fever. Person's smile is infectious. Leprosy is an indolent infectious disease.
Exposure.
The state of being in a particular situation or place where there is no protection from or guarantee to something harmful, the disclosure of something secret.
Examples:
A southern exposure. The exposure of a fraud. The long exposure to the air tarnished the antique tableware.
Transmission.
The act or process of sending something from one person or place to another. The process of broadcasting over the airwaves, as in radio or television.
Examples:
Transmission speed. The transmission gears of a car. Education is the transmission of civilization.
Incredible.
Unbelievable, extremely large.
Examples:
Incredible amount. At incredible speed. Her response revealed incredible idiocy.
Dent.
To make a depression or indentation in the surface of something. Noun, a depression scratched or carved into a surface.
Examples:
Dent removal. Dent his pride. He accidentally dented his car when he bumped into a tree.
Downplay.
To present or represent as less important or severe, to minimize the significance of something.
Examples:
Downplay my ability. Downplay mistakes. The company tried to downplay the significance of the issue.
Ignorant.
Lacking knowledge or awareness in general, uneducated or unsophisticated, unaware of certain facts or information.
Examples:
Ignorant remark. Blissfully ignorant. He was ignorant of the fact that the meeting had been moved to a different location.
Harrowing.
Causing distress or suffering, extremely distressing.
Examples:
Harrowing battle. Harrowing journey. Her harrowing experience in the war had left her with deep emotional scars.
Epidemic.
The widespread outbreak of a particular disease in a large number of people at the same time.
Examples:
A worldwide epidemic. Health epidemic. The disease is now reaching epidemic proportions in our country.
Convey.
To express ideas, feelings, etc., so that it is known or understood by other people. To carry something from one place to another.
Examples:
convey a complex idea. Convey goods by truck. An ironic remark often conveys an intended meaning obliquely.
Infect.
To affect a person, an animal, or a plant with a disease-causing organism.
Examples:
infect other animal species. Infect a computer with a virus. Children often infect parents with this head cold.
Initially.
At the beginning, at first.
Examples:
initially anticipated. Diagnosed initially as a tumor. This train departed later than initially scheduled.
Statistics.
The discipline that concerns the collection, organization, analysis, interpretation, and presentation of data.
Examples:
statistics for cancer. Official statistics. The statistics demonstrate that poverty and unemployment are genuine problems.
Stigma.
A mark of shame or disgrace associated with a particular circumstance, quality, or person.
Examples:
social stigma. Stigma against obesity. The mental health stigma often prevents people from seeking treatment.
Sham.
Something that is not as good or true as it seems to be and is intended to deceive people. A person who pretends to be something they are not.
Examples:
a sham battle. Turn out to be all sham. The data he prepared was completely sham.
Closet.
A small room or cabinet with a door used for storing things, especially clothes.
Examples:
closet full of suits. Walk-in closets. He brushed the suit before hanging it back into the closet.
Overlap.
To partially cover something by going beyond its edge.
Examples:
overlap one another. Overlap in many areas. There was no overlap between their proposals.
Sensitive.
Able to notice slight changes, signals, or influences. Able to feel or perceive others' feelings. Susceptible to the things people say or do.
Examples:
sensitive documents. Baby with sensitive skin. The teacher is very sensitive to children's feelings.
Perceive.
To become aware or conscious of something through the senses.
Examples:
perceive a threat. Perceive light. Australia is widely perceived as having low levels of corruption.
Scrutiny.
Careful and detailed examination.
Examples:
Additional scrutiny. Public scrutiny. All products produced by our factory undergo rigorous scrutiny.
Ridicule.
Speech or behavior that makes fun of or mocks someone or something. Teasing, sarcasm, or scornful remarks that are intended to belittle or humiliate. Verb, to mock, criticize, or make fun of someone or something in a scornful or derisive way.
Examples:
Public ridicule. Ridicule at his expense. The ridicule from his classmates made him feel embarrassed and ashamed.
Transparency.
The condition or quality of being easy to see through.
Examples:
Lack of transparency. Transparency during the trials. The main discussion topic is government transparency.
Martyr.
A person who suffers very much or is killed for the sake of their religious or political beliefs.
Examples:
X-ray martyrs. A Christian martyr. He died a martyr to science.
Indication.
A sign or remark that something exists, is real, or is likely to occur.
Examples:
Indication of inflation. Environmental indication. Faces are a good indication of age.
Assimilate.
To take in and understand information or ideas, to integrate.
Examples:
Assimilate into society. Assimilate a language. The immigrant struggled to assimilate into the new culture.
Invisible.
Impossible or nearly impossible to see.
Examples:
An invisible asset. Invisible stars. The phenomenon is invisible at optical wavelengths.
Veil.
A piece of fine cloth worn by women to cover or conceal the face. Verb, to cover, conceal, or obscure.
Examples:
Veil of mystery. Veil her face. He lifted her veil with both hands.
Sophomore.
A student in their second year of college or high school, used more broadly to refer to someone who is experienced in a particular activity or field.
Examples:
Sophomore in high school. Sophomore slump. The university student was now a sophomore, having completed their first year of studies.
Precaution.
A measure taken in advance to prevent harm, danger, or injury. Foresightfulness.
Examples:
Airborne precaution. Take extra precautions. As a precaution, the company locked all of its doors after a threat was made.
Minimize.
To make something, especially something bad, small or less serious.
Examples:
Minimize a loss. Way to minimize conflict. I bought a gadget before my trip to help minimize stress during the flight.
Misstep.
A mistake or error in judgment or action, often resulting in an awkward or embarrassing situation, a misjudged or poorly executed step or movement.
Examples:
Recover from a misstep. Navigating missteps. She took a misstep on the stairs and tumbled down to the bottom.
Unprotected.
Not guarded, covered, or shielded, vulnerable, without protection or defense.
Examples:
Unprotected area. Unprotected Wi-Fi. It's important never to have unprotected sex to prevent the spread of STDs.
Fast forward.
To advance or move forward in time or progress, particularly in a rapid or accelerated manner, to increase the playback speed of a recording.
Examples:
Fast forward 10 seconds. Fast forward to the good part. I like to fast forward through commercials when watching TV shows.
Trample.
To step heavily on something or someone, causing damage or injury.
Examples:
Trample down his feelings. Trample on the rights. The plants in this garden are precious, so you must not trample them.
Herd.
A group of animals of the same type that live or are kept together as livestock.
Examples:
Herd of cattle. The common herd. He was riding herd on the sheep during the day.
Wildebeest.
Also new, a large African antelope with a broad muzzle and curved horns, known for its annual migration.
Examples:
Grazing wildebeest. Wildebeest herd. The migration of wildebeest across the Serengeti is an awe-inspiring natural phenomenon.
Ache.
To experience a dull, persistent pain or discomfort, typically of moderate or low intensity, to feel a continuous dull pain.
Examples:
Ache abominably. Ache all the time. I ache all over after running a marathon yesterday.
Bout.
A short period of intense activity or experience, a match or contest, especially in boxing or wrestling, a period of illness or disease.
Examples:
Bout of coughing. Boxing bout. He had a bout of anxiety before his big presentation.
Chill.
A feeling of coldness that makes one shiver. Verb, to make cool or cooler.
Examples:
The chill of autumn. Feel a slight chill. His swear words cast a chill on the party.
Reel.
A cylinder on which film, wire, or other flexible materials that can be wound.
Examples:
Cable reel. A 6-reel film. He put the fishing line on the reel and cast his line into the water.
Nausea.
A feeling of sickness or discomfort in the stomach that is often accompanied by an urge to vomit, a sensation of loathing or disgust.
Examples:
Nausea medication. Drug-induced nausea and vomiting. The roller coaster ride left me with a feeling of nausea.
Biology.
The scientific study of life and the natural processes of living things.
Examples:
Evolutionary biology. Cell and molecular biology. In junior high school, we had to dissect a frog in biology class.
Disease.
A disorder or illness that affects the body or mind, often characterized by specific symptoms or abnormal functioning of organs or systems.
Examples:
Disease prevention. Disease control. The doctor diagnosed him with a rare disease that had no known cure.
Seropositive.
Indicating the presence of specific antibodies in the blood, typically used to describe a person who is tested positive for a particular infectious disease.
Examples:
Seropositive status. A seropositive individual. The doctor informed the patient that they were seropositive for HIV.
Acute.
Extremely sharp or severe.
Examples:
Acute pain. Acute triangle. The patient died from acute alcohol intoxication.
Infection.
A condition in which pathogenic microorganisms or viruses have entered the body.
Examples:
A bacterial infection. Treat the infection with antibiotics. Hospitals must meet various standards to prevent nosocomial infections.
Antibody.
A substance produced in the blood that attacks and kills harmful bacteria, viruses, etc., to fight disease.
Examples:
Produce antibody. Antibody against bacteria. This pharmaceutical company is developing antibody drugs with fewer side effects.
Antigen.
A substance that triggers the body's immune response, equals the reaction for fighting infections, for defending the body, especially by producing antibodies, equals proteins that identify and attack harmful bacteria, viruses, etc.
Examples:
Detect antigen. Viral antigen. Antigen testing is less accurate than PCR testing, but easier to perform.
Phase.
Any stage in a series of events, change, or development.
Examples:
enter on the last phase. Two-phase structure. The era of the Industrial Revolution was a crucial phase of history.
Symptom.
Any sensation or change in body or mind that is experienced by a patient and is associated with a particular disease.
Examples.
Symptoms of low testosterone. Neurotic symptoms. The patient displays a symptom of a side effect.
Detect.
To find or recognize something, especially something difficult to see, hear, etc.
Examples.
Detect a bad event. Detect smuggling across borders. The security camera has detected 4 intruders.
Clarify.
To make something, such as a statement or situation, less confusing and more understandable.
Examples.
Clarify a goal. Clarify his feelings. The police tried to clarify the facts concerning her death.
Nail.
A thin, pointed piece of metal with a flat head used for fastening things together, the thin hard layer covering and protecting the outer tip of the fingers or toes.
Examples.
Rusty nail. Nail clipper. He used a hammer and round nail to fix the loose board on the fence.
Reassure.
To cause someone to feel sure, to give or restore confidence.
Examples.
Reassure anxious patients. Reassure market. The pilot tried to reassure the customers that the planes were safe.
Decline.
To become gradually smaller, fewer, worse, etc. To refuse to accept.
Examples.
Decline a job offer. Decline in quality. As people age, their digestive capacity also gradually declines.
Reprimand.
To express severe disapproval of someone, typically in a formal statement or action. Noun, a rebuke or scolding given to someone, especially by an authority figure, for a mistake or misbehavior.
Examples.
Reprimand me for staying out too late. Official reprimand. The teacher reprimanded the student for cheating on the test.
Pity.
A feeling of sorrow and compassion caused by the suffering or misfortunes of others, an object of contempt or disdain.
Examples.
Allow self-pity. Pity speech. It is a pity that the concert had to be cancelled due to the storm.
Disappointment.
The feeling of sadness, frustration, or dissatisfaction that arises when something does not live up to one's expectations or hopes.
Examples.
Disappointment in the result. Disappointment with the service. The cancellation of the concert was a huge disappointment for the fans.
Compassion.
A strong feeling of sympathy and sadness for another's suffering or bad luck.
Examples:
Feel compassion for the poor. Have compassion toward the accident. His infinite love and compassion for everyone never weary.
Grateful.
Feeling or showing an appreciation of kindness, thankful.
Examples:
A grateful breeze. Put a grateful expression. She was grateful for the help he provided.
Exchange.
To give something and receive something else in return, often with the implication that the items being traded are of equal or comparable value. Noun, the act of giving or taking something in return for something else, a place or system where goods or services can be bought, sold, or traded.
Examples:
Exchange rate. Exchange a few friendly words. My sister and I frequently exchange books as we love reading.
Mess.
A state of confusion, dirtiness, or untidiness. Verb, to fail to do something or to make something dirty or untidy.
Examples:
Have a whole mess. Get into a mess. He made a frightful mess in his room.
Emotional.
Relating to people's feelings.
Examples:
Emotional health. Emotional distress. Human emotional responses vary widely depending on the society to which they belong.
Ravage.
To cause damage to something badly.
Examples:
Ravage a country. Ravage the brain. A large fire ravaged the forest.
Oblivious.
Not aware of something, especially what is happening around you, forgetful.
Examples:
Oblivious of his promise. Oblivious to our response. She was so engrossed in her work that she was oblivious to her surroundings.
Diagnose.
To determine or distinguish the nature of a problem or an illness through a careful analysis.
Examples:
Diagnose the problem. Diagnose with CT scans. This device is used to diagnose brain cancer and other tumors.
Couch.
A piece of furniture made for sitting, usually with a back and armrests, designed to seat more than one person.
Examples:
Leather couch. A couch potato. I love to relax on the couch and watch movies on the weekends.
Console.
To provide emotional support or encouragement to someone. Noun, a type of table that is meant to be displayed against a wall. A control panel or unit that houses the controls for a particular piece of equipment.
Examples:
Console her for the loss of her son. Console the spirits of the victims. She consoled her crying friend with words of encouragement.
Heartwarming.
Seeming to be something good and therefore causing gladness and pleasure.
Examples:
Heartwarming letter. A heartwarming tale of love. We enjoyed the heartwarming hospitality of the host.
Refuse.
To show that one is not willing to do or accept something.
Examples:
Refuse a request. Refuse the company. My initial reaction was to refuse.
Damn.
To express disapproval of or disappointment in something or someone. To condemn or to curse, a swear word, an expression of anger.
Examples:
Damn the consequences. Damn with faint praise. The company's poor financial performance is likely to damn the CEO's chances of being re-elected to the board.
Silent.
Without any or little sound.
Examples:
Silent reading. Give silent consent. The politician remained silent despite intense media scrutiny.
Hint.
An indirect suggestion, a slight but appreciable amount of something.
Examples:
Hint of trouble. Helpful hints. There was no hint of a problem.
Aversion.
A strong dislike or reluctance towards something or someone. A feeling of extreme distaste or aversion towards something or someone unpleasant.
Examples:
Aversion therapy. Strong aversion. Her aversion to snakes made her avoid the reptile exhibit at the zoo.
Gradual.
Happening slowly over a long period of time or distance, not steep or abrupt.
Examples:
A gradual process. A gradual change. The country experienced a gradual increase in population.
Offensive.
Rude in a way that causes someone to feel anger, annoyance, or resentment, for the purpose of attack rather than defense.
Examples:
Assume the offensive. An offensive smell. His offensive philosophy in business led to many hostile takeovers.
Toothbrush.
A small brush with a handle used for cleaning the teeth.
Examples:
Toothbrush stand. Power toothbrush. My toothbrush with end-rounded bristles is excellent for gently cleaning my teeth and gums.
Louse.
A small, wingless insect that lives on the bodies of mammals and birds, often considered a parasite, a contemptible or despicable person.
Examples:
Pubic louse. Louse egg. The child was sent home from school because of a lice infestation caused by one louse.
Scabies.
A highly contagious skin infection caused by mites, resulting in intense itching and the formation of small red bumps or blisters on the skin.
Examples:
Itchiness from scabies. Treatment for scabies. The scabies outbreak at the school led to an immediate shutdown until it was under control.
Fluid.
A substance that can flow and is not solid.
Examples:
Plenty of fluids. Fluid assets. She was diagnosed with a fluid buildup in her lungs.
Semen.
The fluid that contains sperm and is ejaculated during sexual activity, which may fertilize an egg and lead to pregnancy.
Examples:
Semen donation. Semen volume. After undergoing a semen analysis, the doctor told him that he had a low sperm count.
Vagina.
The passage in the body of a woman or female animal that connects her outer sex organs to her uterus.
Examples:
Vagina cancer care. Infection of the vagina. The muscle around the vagina is elastic enough to allow the passage of a fetus.
Breast.
Either of the two round soft parts of a woman's chest which secrete milk after childbirth.
Examples:
Breast cancer. The mountain's breast. He grilled the breast meat of a chicken.
Breastfeeding.
The act of feeding a baby with milk produced by the mother's breasts.
Examples:
Breastfeeding mother. Breastfeeding support. Getting the hang of breastfeeding at first can be challenging, but with patience and practice, it gets easier.
Enact.
To make a law, to put something into practice.
Examples:
Enact new legislation. Enact the smoking ban. The government enacted this law in 1925.
Twilight.
The soft, diffused light from the sky when the sun is below the horizon, either from sunrise to sunrise or sunset to sunset.
Examples:
Twilight sky. Twilight of an era. The sky was a beautiful pink and orange color at twilight.
Discomfort.
A feeling of being uncomfortable physically or mentally or being embarrassed, a slight pain.
Examples:
Endure discomfort and pain. Discomfort in the abdomen. He felt no discomfort as the dentist drilled his deadened tooth.
Eventually.
Finally, particularly after a long time or a lot of struggle, complications, and so on.
Examples:
Eventually become obsolete. Eventually succeed. The corporation eventually dominated the entire tobacco business.
Religion.
A deep conviction in a supernatural power that controls human destiny.
Examples:
Religion sociology. Freedom of religion. Their religion strictly prohibits them from drinking or gambling.
Discriminate.
To treat a person or particular group of people worse or better than another, especially in an unfair way, to recognize or perceive the difference between people or things.
Examples:
Discriminate against women employees. Discriminate between different things. You should not discriminate against minorities.
Tremendous.
Very great in degree or extent or amount or impact, extremely good.
Examples:
Tremendous amount. Tremendous popularity. We had a tremendous time yesterday.
Disappoint.
To fail to meet someone or their hopes or expectations, to make someone feel sad.
Examples:
Disappoint the audience. Don't disappoint me. She worked very hard not to disappoint her boss's expectations.
Unlikely.
Not probable or likely to happen.
Examples:
Unlikely event. It is unlikely that he would win the game. The passage of the bill is unlikely.
Communal.
Belonging to or used by a group rather than individuals, for common use.
Examples:
Communal swimming pool. Communal combination of funds. Communal elections were held in several European countries.
Semester.
One of the periods that the school or university divided into, especially in the US and Australia, a half-year term.
Examples:
End of the semester. During the semester breaks. We must complete all of these courses in the following semester.
Appease.
To pacify or soothe someone, usually by agreeing to their demands or requests, to calm someone's anger or anxiety.
Examples:
Appease hunger. Appease her fears. The manager tried to appease the angry customer by offering them a refund.
Unwilling.
Not ready or wanting to do something.
Examples:
Unwilling look. In an unwilling voice. They were unwilling to take any risks.
Remedy.
A successful way of dealing with or improving an unpleasant or difficult situation or curing an illness.
Examples:
Remedy for air pollution. An internal remedy. This drug will be a good remedy for your stomach trouble.
Ignorance.
Lack of knowledge or information about a particular subject or fact.
Examples:
Ignorance of the law. Ignorance is bliss. His ignorance of the situation led him to make a poor decision.
Opt.
To make a choice from a range of possibilities.
Examples:
Opt out of society. Opt for a traditional wedding. I decided to opt for premature retirement.
Visible.
Capable of being seen or open to easy view.
Examples:
Visible stars. Visible by X-ray. My home is easily visible from the shore.
Advocate.
A person who supports or suggests an idea, development, or way of doing something.
Examples:
An advocate of disarmament. Public education advocates. Advocates of abolishing the death penalty often argue that the alternative heaviest sentence should be life in prison.
Advocacy.
The act of supporting or promoting a particular cause or point of view, often through public campaigning or lobbying.
Examples:
Advocacy group. Consumer advocacy group. The group engages in advocacy through lobbying and campaigning for policy changes.
Dispel.
To remove something, especially a feeling of fear, doubt, and false idea.
Examples:
Dispel a painful feeling. Dispel baseless rumors. This program aims to dispel certain misconceptions about the disease.
Scary.
Causing fear or fright, frightening, intimidating.
Examples:
Scary dream. Scary story. The horror movie was so scary that I couldn't watch it alone.
Definitely.
Without any question and beyond doubt, clearly.
Examples:
Definitely become a problem. Say definitely. The paper is definitely worth reading thoroughly.
Synonymous.
Having the same or a similar meaning as another word or phrase.
Examples:
Synonymous terms. Non-synonymous mutation. The phrase big shot and important person are synonymous.
Opportune.
Suitable or happening at a time that is suitable or convenient for a particular purpose.
Examples:
Opportune occasion. An opportune remark. The phone rang at the most opportune time.
Mitigate.
To make less severe or less intense, to alleviate or lessen the adverse effects of something.
Examples:
Mitigate risk. Mitigate a natural disaster. Efforts to mitigate the effects of climate change require a coordinated and sustained effort by governments, businesses, and individuals.
Humiliation.
The feeling of being made to feel ashamed or foolish.
Examples:
An intolerable humiliation. A taste of humiliation. His public humiliation resulted from a cruel prank played by his colleagues.
Comprehensive.
Complete and including all or everything necessary.
Examples:
A comprehensive explanation. Conduct a comprehensive survey. We have a comprehensive grasp of this topic.
Conservative.
Holding traditional views and values and opposed to change or innovation.
Examples:
A conservative society. Conservative about production. He always makes a conservative estimation when predicting future sales.
Outlook.
The likely future situation for someone or something, a habitual or characteristic mental attitude to life and the world of a particular person, group, or culture.
Examples:
The outlook of the town site. A positive outlook on life. Our company's business outlook for next year is bright.
Heterosexual.
Attracted to individuals of the opposite sex.
Examples:
Heterosexual relationship. Heterosexual marriage. He identified as heterosexual and had never considered being with someone of the same gender.
Expand.
To increase or to make something greater in size, number, or importance.
Examples:
Expand a lineup. Expand agricultural output. They hope to expand their business worldwide.
Scope.
The range of one's perceptions, thoughts, or actions, or a subject that.
Examples:
Scope of a project. Have broad scope. The scope of human thought is diverse.
Naturally.
As might be expected, by natural manners.
Examples:
Naturally arising. Naturally regenerated forest. He was naturally gifted.
Underworld.
The criminal world or the world of organized crime, the realm of the dead in various mythologies.
Examples:
God of the underworld. Criminal underworld. The story of Orpheus and Eurydice is said to have taken place in the underworld, where Orpheus attempted to rescue his wife from the realm of the dead.
App.
Abbreviation for application, software designed to run on smartphones and other mobile devices or inside a web browser on a PC.
Examples:
Killer app. Cannot log into the app. The discovery of a critical bug caused the company to delay the app's release.
Unfamiliar.
Not known or recognized, not experienced or encountered before.
Examples:
the unfamiliar surroundings. Around unfamiliar people. She was unfamiliar with the city and got lost while trying to find her way back to the hotel.
Upload.
To transfer digital data or files from a local computer or device to a remote server or network, the act of transferring such data or files.
Examples:
upload files. Upload documents to the portal. I need to upload these pictures to my computer to edit them.
Radial.
Of or relating to rays or the radii of a circle, spreading out from a central point.
Examples:
radial symmetry. In a radial direction. The radial design of the wheel allows for maximum strength and stability.
Church.
A building or institution dedicated to religious worship or activities, a Christian religious organization or denomination.
Examples:
church bell. Small church. The church on the corner is hosting a free community meal tonight.
Grocery.
A shop that sells food and other household items.
Examples:
the grocery business. Run a grocery. I will go to the grocery store to buy food for dinner.
Negative.
Having the quality of something bad or harmful, expressing refusal.
Examples:
have a negative effect. A negative number. The movie has received almost universally negative criticism.
Frame.
A strong border or structure of the wood, metal, etc. that surrounds something such as a picture, door, or window.
Examples:
a picture frame. The frame of the policy. The detective looked for fingerprints on the window frame.
Mention.
To speak or write about something or someone briefly.
Examples:
mention name. Mention in a report. I mentioned to him that I had seen his sister at the grocery store earlier that day.
Remark.
A comment or observation, or something said or written about a particular subject or situation. Verb, to give a spoken statement on a particular subject or situation.
Examples:
a flattering remark. Remark dripping with bitterness. His candid remark at the meeting sparked a lively discussion among the attendees.
Assume.
To think or accept something to be true without having proof of it, to take or begin to have power, to begin to exhibit a specific quality or appearance.
Examples:
assume a lousy attitude to his boss. Assume an important role. The following example assumes that the capacity of each battery is the same.
Refer.
To direct someone's attention, thoughts, or questions to another source or person, to mention, cite, or allude to something as evidence or support.
Examples:
Refer to a book. Refer to a map. Please refer to the instruction manual for further assistance.
Flip.
To turn over into a different position quickly, to throw or toss with a light motion.
Examples:
Flip over the pork chop. Flip a coin. He flipped when he heard that he had been accepted into the university.
Dam.
A wall constructed over a river to block the flow of water, mainly used to generate energy.
Examples:
Dam building program. Dam collapsing. The break in the dam threatened the valley.
Disclose.
To make something, such as secret or new information, known publicly.
Examples:
Disclose a secret. Disclose a vulnerability. The curtain rose to disclose a fantastic set.
Distress.
A feeling of great worry, sadness, pain, or discomfort.
Examples:
A signal of distress. Emotional distress. She's been in great distress since she was heartbroken.
Numerous.
Amounting to a large indefinite number.
Examples:
Numerous countries. As numerous as the sand. These descriptions are based on a number of numerous assumptions.
Scared.
Afraid or frightened.
Examples:
Scared all the time. Scared dog. I'm scared of insects.
Immediately.
Now or without delay.
Examples:
Immediately recall a product. Write him an answer immediately. A suspension order from the court is effective immediately.
Calm.
Not excited, angry, or nervous, free from wind, large waves.
Examples:
Calm sea. Calm manner. It was the first time in a long time that I felt truly calm and at peace.
Afford.
To have enough money or time to be able to buy or do something.
Examples:
Afford to buy a new car. Afford a high travel cost. He cannot afford a holiday.
Humble.
Having or showing a modest or low estimate of one's quality or importance.
Examples:
A humble cottage. Humble opinion. The nobler, the more humble.
Aspect.
One part or feature of a situation, problem, subject, etc.
Examples:
non-technical aspects of the job. Aspects of social, political, and economic life. His professional experience includes all aspects of media production.
Suffer.
To experience pain, distress, or hardship, to undergo or endure something painful or unpleasant.
Examples:
suffer a setback. Suffer bad grades. The older man suffers from arthritis and finds it difficult to move around.
Background.
The details of a person's social heritage, such as family, vocational or educational experience, past information that is essential to understanding a situation or problem.
Examples:
a background color. A criminal background. The company's hiring criteria emphasize personality, not a person's background.
Anonymous.
Having no known name, identity, or known source.
Examples:
anonymous letter. Anonymous house. She received several anonymous calls.
Blank.
Without any writing or printing, empty or devoid of ideas, information, or meaning, unable to remember or recall information.
Examples:
blank expression. Blank paper. The computer screen displayed nothing but a blank white screen.
Topic.
A subject that is being discussed or written about.
Examples:
a serious topic. The topic of the book. The topic of the discussion was the current state of the economy.
Gamble.
To take risky action in the hope of being successful, to play or game for money or other stakes.
Examples:
gamble $100 on the race. Gamble away my fortune. Will you gamble on the result of the fight?
Flack.
Heavy and constant criticism, opposition, or hostility directed towards someone or something. Anti-aircraft guns or artillery fire.
Examples:
get flack. Flak battery. Politicians often receive much flack from citizens for their decisions.
Tangible.
Real and concrete, able to be perceived, especially able to be touched, of business assets, having physical substance and intrinsic monetary value.
Examples:
tangible assets. Produce tangible results. A problem that has been pointed out for years finally becomes tangible.
Resound.
To make a loud, deep sound that echoes.
Examples:
resound with his fame. Resound in an enclosure. The sound of the drums resounded through the concert hall.
Encounter.
To face something, particularly something unpleasant or difficult, while attempting to do something else, to meet, especially unexpectedly.
Examples:
Encounter a crisis. Encounter a storm. I'm prepared to encounter challenges throughout this adventure.
Educate.
To provide or receive instruction or training over a period of time at a school, university, etc.
Examples:
Educate student. Educate public. The school's mission is to educate young children and prepare them for the future.
Phrase.
A group of words that mean something specific when used together.
Examples:
Ready-made phrases. Noun phrase. We bought a Spanish phrase book.
Implore.
To beg earnestly or desperately, to plead urgently for assistance or mercy.
Examples:
Implore forgiveness. Implore assistance. I implore you to reconsider your decision before it's too late.
Compassionate.
Feeling or showing sympathy and concern for the suffering or bad luck of others.
Examples:
A compassionate heart. Compassionate leave. My father has a serious and compassionate personality.